So I don't normally do this kind of thing. Um, I have a lot of conversations with myself, but yeah, I I've reached a point in my life so far where I am pretty confused and have lost a lot of things, and it feels like a very transitional point in my life. And I'm wanting to, I've been working on for a long time now, like pretty consistently, like for over a year and a half. I've been looking at my life and picking out parts that, I wasn't happy with, that I didn't feel like were serving me, and just reevaluating things, figuring out, what would feel better for my overall goals, which I think is kind of a moving target, if I'm being honest. Some of the goals that I have been pretty, like, persistent for a while, but they're also pretty general, and I feel like they're goals that, like, a lot of people have, like wanting to have a good relationship, like a romantic relationship, and yeah, but I guess, like, what I'm trying to say is that for quite some time now, my life has felt like it's just completely falling apart, and I'm trying to find some solace in that, in a way. Um, there's a lot of grief in that, and I have cried more and felt more extreme emotions in the last year and a half than, proportionally at least, I've felt more of that in the last year and a half than I have for, like, a lot of my life, I would say. I think a lot of it is just things that I, like, haven't been able to process finally coming out. And so I've just been allowing that to come up and come out. And it's a lot because a lot of it keeps coming out, keeps coming up. And I'm working on just giving myself grace for that. And yeah, I've spent a lot of time, like, in isolation and solitude. I've learned that I can be my best friend and my worst enemy. And sometimes it's hard to know what that's going to be depending on the day. But I'm glad that I have this awareness, and I know that I'm still young and that I have a lot of time left, and that the only way I'm going to learn is just by experiencing more, by living more. And so that's been a really hard thing for me to get used to. It's been really difficult for me to allow myself to live and allow myself to make mistakes, especially when I haven't felt a lot of stability in my life for a while now. This last year and a half, I've gone through countless jobs, that were pretty terrible, um, extremely difficult for me at least. And it's been this recurring pattern of just having to start over so much. I've learned a lot about myself in the process, and I know that no matter what I do, like, each time I have to start over. Like, I have to start somewhere, and I have to, like, you can't start here and already be like at a certain point. Like, if this is like the starting point, you can't like skip that and get to another place without starting here first. Like, you have to like work up. And that's like with anything. So yeah, like, and I just have to remind myself that like there's a lot of things that I have started or that I've learned and didn't know how to do before, and had to learn just the very basics, learn the very beginning of it, and now I know a whole lot about it, and I can even teach someone else how to do it. Like, one example of that is crocheting. Like, I've known how to do that for over 7 years now, and it just took a willingness to learn and experience and make mistakes. And so I'm trying to apply that to the rest of my life. But it can be difficult when the rest of life feels a little bit more high stakes than learning something like a hobby like crochet. But I think it's a good way to have that perspective on it, that the more pressure I put on something, the more serious I make it, the more intense it's going to feel with every decision. And so I'm just learning to like surrender a little bit and let go, because that's kind of when things are able to like flow a little bit better and just happen. I've definitely felt like some hesitation with that, thinking that if I let go, that I'm not going to be living out my values, or that people are going to walk all over me, and that I'll, not accomplish anything that I want to do. But I'm trying to view it as, like, if this is like the goal, and I'm holding it like this, it's really hard to see that and to like make sense of it. But if I hold it like this, then I can see it and have an idea of how to work towards that and what steps are necessary. And then, I can also turn it around and look at it. When it's like this, it's just covered up and it's so tight, and there's no room to breathe. There's no room to like let it be. And yeah, so it's a very difficult practice, but yeah, like, that's a big one that I've been trying to work on. It's difficult though. And then also, just another thing is, I tend to live in my head like most of the time, and so a big help has been doing activities to get back into my body and to feel sensations in my body. I think it can feel a little scary at times, but it's become something that I revisit when I want to feel more grounded, because it does help me feel grounded, and it helps me not spiral so much. because when I get in my head, I can just kind of like circulate up here and swirl around, and it becomes this, it just gets faster. I mean, that's ruminating. And so shifting the focus from there to here, and like focusing on my breath, focusing on the sensations I feel in my body, and just focusing in the moment with what I'm doing, definitely helps a lot. But it's a practice you have to continue doing. It's bringing the focus back to that. I feel very much of a magnetization to being in my head, so it takes a lot to pull myself away from that, but I know that that's what helps, so I'm trying to like lean into that, and the more that I do it, it's like, yeah, like that's just what I need to be more balanced, is to spend less time in my head and more time in my body, more time focusing on the sensations and just being in the moment. And on top of that, just being like aware of the thoughts that I do have. Like if I am going to be in my head, at least to be, just observe what's going on, like not judging it or trying to analyze it, you know, just let the script run, let the thoughts happen, let them pass, let them come up and go, and yeah, they don't have as much weight when I do that, because I'm not, you know, subscribing as much meaning to them, and it's not like any one thought is more important than the other. It's just, they're just all thoughts. That's just it. And like, I can choose which ones I want to focus on more. Sometimes it's hard to know that I am choosing, and I have to pull myself back and realize that when I choose the thoughts that aren't as helpful, that those hold a lot more weight usually, and that can pull me down more quickly. So, you know, a lot of times it feels like it takes more positive effort and more, like it takes more positive thoughts to feel continually better than it takes negative thoughts to pull you down. And so, yeah, that's just something that's kind of difficult, but ultimately I'm glad that I can have these realizations though, and I just want to continue to work on letting go a little bit and not taking things quite so seriously. But yeah, like it's been, I'm just trying to laugh about it because I don't really know what else to do at this point. Have like $1 in my bank account, and I've been unemployed for quite some time, cycling in and out of jobs, and I have support, but I'm isolated a lot, and I have lost a lot of people, and I am having to rebuild a lot. So it's a difficult time for sure. And yeah, it's hard to trust in times like this that things can get better, but I know that they will. And I know that it takes me going out and living life and experiencing and, going out to, like, I have to put in some kind of effort for anything to happen. And so that's just what I continue to do. But I also kind of stop myself in my tracks when anything happens. So I think I just have to kind of let myself experience things as they happen and just learn from that experience. Yeah, I just think I need a little more time to experience things and to learn and be around people in different settings, as myself, as me in this sort of more isolated version, I guess, of myself. Because, yeah, this is like a period in my life where I am doing a lot of introspection and a lot of self-reflection and being curious about what it is that I truly want and who I am, who I've been before now, letting go of, those parts of myself that aren't serving me anymore, that I don't resonate with anymore. And so, yeah, it feels like a lot of grief and a lot of rebuilding and shifting. And so it takes a little bit of time to adjust. And I think that's just what I've been going through, is adjusting. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been going through. And I don't know if this makes any sense or if anyone can find any value in this, but it helps me at least to, like, verbalize it. And if I can help, someone out there feel a little less alone in their journey, or just know that, like, you're not alone, that life is really hard, but I do think it's worth it, and I do think that ultimately everything works out. And yeah, so that's kind of all I have to say about it right now. But yeah, that's I hope that this can have some kind of positive impact, and that, yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of putting this out there. So